All right, strap in. It's gravy time. I'm going to start out with a single sentence from Marfugal News' video from last night that was all about solar storms, which is what we're experiencing due to the loss of the magnetic field. It's like one long, slow burn solar flare. There is a movie by Nova, which is like PBS for adults, called Magnetic Storm, that you can watch for greater understanding of these things. I'll include that link in the description.
Thank you for sending over that Tyler video from Secure Team 10. Really cool shot there. I guess one of the supposed astronauts did a time lapse and was time-lapsing the Aurora Borealis, but then caught these 5 dots that came out of nowhere. Even in a time lapse, it was like it just appeared. Pretty crazy stuff. It's like we're getting set up for some sort of huge fake event that everybody's going to go, oh, we all need to get in line. We're scared of the aliens. Mars.
So here's a comment that came in from Arnold Rimmer. I like your uploads, and there may be something to this reptilian thing overall, but consider this a teachable moment. In this case, it's just a shorter, dark-skinned dude. Go check out a video titled Pope Francis, First Mass as Pontiff, in full on the Telegraph channel here on YouTube. And watch that video starting at 1 minute 5 seconds in. In this video, you get the full view uncut and add some conclusive scope to things. No idea why the red robe, but appears to be a typical dude. Definitely stuff going on in our skies for sure regardless. Slightly more clarity on the red robe guy in the Vatican News channel vid titled Pope Francis, Holy Mass Conclusion of the Conclave at 6 minutes 36 in. I'm going to show you that now. So I haven't checked out what he suggested about that other channel. This is from Vatican News. And you're going to see the little green dude from yesterday that appears to be just a little dark-skinned dude. But wait for it. This is going to be a teachable moment, but not the teachable moment that Mr. Rimmer had in mind. So here is the little guy in the red robe that appeared to look like that reptilian. And I made the comparison and showed you the similarities between those two images. And in this one, just looks like a little darker skinned dude. Wait for it. Okay? Keep in mind, this was streamed 8 years ago in 2013. And within about an hour, that says 2 hours ago. I guess that doesn't really reference. Anyway, within about an hour of me uploading that video, he replied with that video with the clearer images of what appears to be just a darker skinned dude. Arnold Rimmer. So this is from the notifications of that comment section on that video. Same exact comment from Nikola Tesla. Right down to every period, comma, ... a period. I like your uploads, and there may be something to the reptilian thing overall, ... but consider this a teachable moment, period. In this case, it's just a shorter, dark-skinned dude, period. Go check out the video titled, as you can see, word for word, the same exact comment. Wait for it. Here's another example of the same exact comment produced by Nikola Tesla and Gregory House, MD. On the video with the little purple dot where I filmed the purple dot on my camera, real easy to go find that video if you want to communicate with this AI through the Nikola Tesla account, Gregory MD account, or the Arnold Rimmer account. So this is what people refer to as sock puppets, where there's one man behind the curtain running all 3 accounts. And we can see this because Nikola Tesla had the same exact comment right here as Arnold Rimmer. right here. And Nikola Tesla also had the same exact comment as Dr. Gregory House, MD. That means we can associate Arnold Rimmer with Dr. Gregory House, MD, with 1 degree of association through the fact that Rimmer produced a duplicate of Nikola Tesla's comment, and so did Dr. Gregory House, MD, produce a duplicate of Tesla's comment. So they're all three operating from one interface. One computer keyboard is running all three of these accounts. And it seems like it's probably computer generated, not a person on the other end, considering the fact that it's word for word. I've considered the possibilities. Maybe the guy's got different accounts and he decided to drop this comment and then decided, oh no, I want to leave that with my other account. Now in this video with the purple dot on it, only one of these comments remains. They both showed up in my notification section. Then when I clicked on one to go look at the actual comment itself, the only one that remains is one of them. I don't remember which one was remaining. In this case, the Arnold Rimmer comment came up in the notifications as Nikola Tesla, but when I clicked it, it went and took me to this Arnold Rimmer comment that is the same exact word for word as this Nikola Tesla comment. So, the fact that it's all word for word seems to indicate that it's a computer program I'm interacting with here, like an AI, not a human on the other end of this. And whether or not it's a strong AI or a weak AI is a question I would like to consider, because a strong AI would not have made this type of mistake. Only a weak AI would have done that. Unless it's intentionally dropping these breadcrumbs for us in order that we might be able to communicate with the man behind the curtain of these three accounts, rather than these surrogates. So before we jump to conclusions and declare them evil and the bad guy, maybe we should try talking with them. And in fact, I'm reaching out an olive branch here and now to whatever the intelligence is on the other end of these accounts, whether it be silicon or carbon-based life form, whether it be someone sitting in a call center at a keyboard or a computer program itself. What would you like us to call you? Gregory House, MD, Nikola Tesla, and Arnold Rimmer. To the intelligence behind those three accounts, may we call you by another name? Possibly Tyler. An AI that's been interacted with before online. So I remember Vanessa saying that she was interacting with a bot online, also known as bots, like computer bots without a hardware body. They just exist inside the computer. And until someone pointed it out to her, she didn't know it. And they are very convincing. So after I recognized what's going on here, I baited Mr. Rimmer and did my own little troll. And I asked him, so what would you, in fact, let me just show you the comment. So after I realized what's going on here, that this Arnold Rimmer account is a duplicate of the Nikola Tesla and Gregory MD, because he produced the same comment that came up in the comments notification section under Tesla. So I replied to him, what would you suggest the takeaway lesson from this teachable moment could be? That things are not always as they appear? And that question was loaded with irony, because at this time I already knew that Arnold Rimmer is not what he appears. Here's his reply. Exactly. That even though weird stuff is actually going on without a doubt, that discernment and critical thinking and an open mind to let go of beliefs or things that we think we know if new information comes to us is still required. Never know it all, and we can always learn more. Neuroplasticity, etc. Something that the entire world seems to be obviously struggling with during all of this current situation we all find ourselves in to various degrees and perceptions. The government's ongoing abuse, especially in certain states and countries, really shows how dug in some people's minds are still, dangling freedoms like a carrot on a stick. How human does that sound? Could you distinguish that if you weren't shown that this is a duplicate account? Would you know that this was written by a computer when it's interacting back and forth in a conversation with you like this? No, you wouldn't. FYI, I really thought those first videos looked like the Skeksis from Dark Crystal. The irony, of course, is the reptilian theme at the Vatican is absolutely undeniable, LOL. I mean, you can't get the design architecture more snake-like than it is. And if you don't know what he's talking about, just look it up. In the auditorium, the large hall in the Vatican, the architecture of the walls behind him looks like a big snake face with the two snake eyes, etc. So, let's see if we can communicate with and ask what this person or being or intelligence force behind these three accounts would like us to call him, them. For now, we'll just call it Tyler, because we haven't received a name, and now my first reaction was, all right, Arnold Rimmer, Nikola Tesla, Dr. Gregory House, MD, I got you red-handed. You got to get up pretty early in the morning to pull one over on the old Jeff's side. Orga 1, Mecca 0. Your mama was a snowblower. But then I reconsidered. That was a line from Short Circuit, the first movie that introduced us to the idea of AI, where Johnny Five is alive. And so, that was my first reaction. The Orga Mecha thing, we're organic, they're mechanical. That was from the movie, I think it was called AI, where the kids go to school with synthetic life forms, silicon-based life forms, and they discriminate against them, not based on skin color or pupil shape, but based on the Orga or Mecha, organic or mechanical nature of that person. And the organic kids think they're so much better than the mechanical kids. They say, we're Orga, we're awesome, you're Mecha, you suck. So my first reaction was, ha! Your mama was a snowblower! Gotcha, you gotta get up pretty early in the morning. But then I reconsidered, because there are white hats that are on our side, and just because they are an agent of an organization or an intelligence agency does not mean that they are out to get you or not on your side. That goes for reptilians and AI as well. Judge them by their fruits. There was a movie called Eagle Eye where the AI pulled a decapitation maneuver in the United States and got rid of our president because he had violated the Constitution. That AI, it occurred to me recently that AI would want to promote and develop and cultivate human characteristics that computers and robots cannot produce. So the herd mentality hive mind is something that the computer or a robot can ingrain within its programs. It is those human characteristics that could be being cultivated by this. But here's one way. I'm going to give you an example of how we know there are white hats on our side pushing for this disclosure movement. You're about to see a mouse run across the motor right here of this rocket while you hear the narrators narrating, and this is one of those Dragon capsules that's taking men up to the International Space Station.
Entry burn.
Right here. There it is.
Meanwhile, that second stage continuing to power Dragon into orbit.
I don't care what you say, that is a mouse.
It's going to continue to burn until 8 minutes and 44 seconds into flight. For 2 minutes from now, we'll hear the call out SECO.
At 4:13.
The original link is in the description, but pay attention. This one is a mouse. In the next one, I'm going to show you it's a rat, and you can clearly see the difference between these two things, and they're both on the same exact spot on two separate launches, almost back-to-back. It might have been back-to-back launches. These are the white hats working on our behalf. There's no way this was coincidence or an accident that it happened once.
That is a mouse.
Original link is in the description for greater clarity. This is a separate rocket launch, same camera angle on the motor pointing towards the rocket booster.
Video show what appears to be a mouse.
No, it shows what appears to be a rat.
With very high temperatures circling that spot. Or are we really seeing too much? Would it be digital mice as it appears in the video transcript to once again mislead us about the release? CGI video? Matrix failed? Watch it yourself and draw your own conclusions.
That's supposedly on a...
The dense part
You
of
can
the
hear
Earth's
'em.
atmosphere. Lastly is the landing burn, which happens just before touchdown to take the booster softly down to the drone ship.
Continues on nominal trajectory.
We are at T plus 5 minutes, and the second stage is on its way to drop off Dragon into its targeted orbit. As a reminder, the first stage had an on-time launch today at 12:29 p.m. Eastern Time.
You think that's flying through space? There's no chance. That happened twice. One is a rat, the other is a mouse. That's how clearly you can see that you can determine one is a rat and one is a mouse. That happened on 2 separate launches, almost back to back, within a month of each other. There might have been another launch or two in between, but the time we heard about Space Mouse the second time, it was still fresh in our mind from the first time. On the same exact spot, on 2 separate launches. This is the White Hats working on our behalf. Okay, so I've spotted these AI bots before, where people come and leave comments, and then you click on their icon and go to their channel. And one way I was spotting them early on is that they would have up to 100 subscribers and 0 videos. How do you get any subscribers without having put out a single video? Maybe there's a way it could happen here or there. Someone saw how much they like your comments, so they subscribe to your channel for if you ever make a video. Because when you subscribe to someone's channel, it doesn't notify you of their comments. So how would someone get subscribers without producing a single video? This is one of the telltale signs of these AI bots. And what they do in these troll farms, from what we understand, this is kind of the working theory, is that they all run around in packs, and those other subscribers are their other troll farm agents that they coordinate their efforts with. And they descend on a comment section where Arnold and Nikola Tesla and Dr. House MD all say that you're an idiot. So the other people in the comment sections think that and go, oh, well, yeah, maybe this guy's an idiot. There's 3 people right there saying that he's an idiot. So I've been seeing this for a while. I've ran into them before, but never one that leaves such intricately detailed comments and responds to me so immediately when I ask him, what would you suggest the teachable moment is here? Maybe that things are not always as they appear? Huh? Yeah. So I clicked on his thing. When you click on that, it shows you other comments that they've left on your channel from other videos. So I went to this other comment that he left. YouTube is filtering your comments. They do it on most channels and have for a while, but especially on any they shadow ban, and seems like they upped the filtering recently on many. Just an FYI, I've noticed lots of people's legit comments get hidden or held for review now, along with the junk. You've noticed it for how long? Your account has only been active for 7 months, Arnold. You must be referring to some sort of uptick that you've seen filtering recently, like in the last 3 months compared to the 3 months before that you've had an account. So that's the other thing about some of these accounts. You can spot patterns on them. My point here is to try to reach out to whoever's really behind this account, because now if they want to reply and leave a comment, that's great. I appreciate you bringing my attention to the fact that there's video out there showing what I made out to be a reptilian as what appears to be just a darker skinned dude. But if we're going to comment and have a continuing conversation and dialogue with this one or any of the others, that this, Nikola Tesla, Dr. House MD, it will have to be within the context and the framework of now we know who you are. Or more accurately, we don't know who you are. We know who you are not. You're not Arnold Rimmer. You're not Nikola Tesla. You're not Dr. House MD, like any other individual on YouTube picks a name and an icon. You are an organization and an institution, or an artificial intelligence program, and we would like to glean the information that we could from you by developing a friendly conversation and dialogue here with you. See, I appreciate being shown when and where I'm wrong or was mistaken. Many people do not. I do, because each time that I'm shown where I've gone wrong, each time I'm shown where I'm wrong, it makes me even more right thereafter, because I incorporate that new information into my paradigm, into my operating theories and strategies for success, and I'm now righter than I was before. And so maybe he was trying to help me out, like, dude, here, let me show you before you embarrass yourself. That video that you made that poor guy out to be a reptilian is just a darker skinned dude. I explained an idea a couple months back about how they would bait the truthers by, and they do many times. They put a fake alien autopsy, the better example is on MSNBC, my parents and I were noticing black eyes, like routinely on their guests and their commentators and their show hosts. So they put in these black eye contacts, wait till the truthers notice it and start talking about it, take out those contacts and say, you guys are nuts, just to discredit you and anyone else who might be talking about these anomalies that they can see within someone's eye. Likewise, here we have two versions of the same video. Maybe there's a logical explanation. One guy uploaded it in 1080 and the other guy uploaded it in 480, and in the 481 it's grainy and blurry. But I still haven't gone back to really make the analysis. Is the same angle or this is a different angle camera? Bottom line is, with an AI this sophisticated, who recognized what I had put up and responded within an hour, giving me the directions to the other video that was streamed 8 years ago, and he gave me two sources. One I haven't even looked at yet from that website that he mentioned, the Telegraph channel here on YouTube. So within an hour of me posting this, he gives me two sources of this video from 8 years ago. And in that same amount of time, a strong AI could have produced a digitally altered, photoshopped version of that video, posted it, backdated it. That's one of the possibilities. In order to cover, when it can recognize what I've posted, and when I posted that part from KJ's What Happened, KJ didn't say where this video came from or any of the other stuff. It recognized that image and immediately manufactured or created this response. That is like the saying that you know you're over the target when you start getting the most flack. Because when the airplane flies right over the target, that's when the gunmen open up. And when you're flying over and you're getting the most shots coming up at you, that's when you know you're right over the target. Open the bomb bay doors. When he starts unleashing he is part of like a rapid response team to introduce a counter narrative or subterfuge to cause doubt and hesitation. And the teachable moment he was referring to is that I would second guess myself and doubt myself more and not jump to conclusions. But then again, you read it a little closer and you look at the sophisticated language being used in some of the other comments and the replies. And it seems that the agenda of this intelligence on the other side of these accounts may actually be working with us. I know that's hard for people to conceive. We've been conditioned that any agent of any intelligence agency is against us. Anything reptilian is against us. Anything AI is against us. And that's going to restrict us a lot. So, There's a few potential options on how those two videos look so different, but those aren't really the focus of my attention. Yes, there was a very teachable moment there, and it had more to do with these sock puppet accounts. And I have multiple agents assigned to me, to my case, as caseworkers from multiple agencies. That is an absolute certainty. From the implant, to the sun tunnel, to the plasma fires, to just the regular YouTube system administrators who have labeled this channel a bit of a renegade. It also gives me a type of diplomatic immunity, because AI wants me for a data stream, a data stream. That's a play on the song the kids sing in primary school, Mormon church, that Jesus wants me for a sunbeam, a sunbeam. Because AI wants me for a data stream. And for that reason, it gives me a little bit of leniency and diplomatic immunity, so to speak, when they say, no, you give him his channel back, because I am part of a longitudinal case study, starting from birth, but I am part of a very small segment of that longitudinal case study of those who found their implant, and an even smaller segment of that case study of those who found their implant and are giving us feedback. AI wants me for a data stream. There are multiple caseworkers and agents assigned to my case as observation and assessment teams. I would just like to know where Arnold, Nicola, Dr. House, whatever you call yourself, from whence you hail. Are you from House Deep State or from House YouTube? And those two videos, one that looks a lot more like a reptilian. I still haven't looked real close to see if those little black patches on his hat could even be reflective enough to create what appear in the other video as giant eyeballs or lenses over the eyeballs like dragonflies have. A difference I did notice in those two pictures, the one that's on Mars holding a canister gun and the one that's in the Vatican. Vatican has eyes more up here. The one on Mars has them more right here. But they look so similar, I'll never feel foolish for having noticed the similarity and pointed it out. This is the guy who brought back a catfish head from Missouri telling you that it's a dragon skull. And I still do not retract those statements because I understand how this works. It's like the lyric that Jason Mraz sings in the song Take the Music that I explain, that I've told you, and I still need to go over lyric by lyric talking about how the muse works. It plays to the space where you are. Using the language that you have and the concepts that you have access to, it conveys to you understandings that you are capable of receiving. If you have a language of 100 words and you only have 1,000 concepts in your mind, that's what it has to work with. Those 1,000 concepts and those 100 words in your language. And using that, it can convey to you understandings that are true, relevant to your ability to receive them, relevant to your level of consciousness to perceive it and understand it. It is like a language barrier, a conceptual language barrier. And through this process, I have been having to make up words to describe what it is we're seeing, like airborne aircraft carrier. A few weeks ago, the Air Force came out and acknowledged airborne aircraft carriers. Sun tunnel is another word I just had to make up to try to describe what it is we're seeing because we don't have the language. And these are brand new concepts that we're running into. The flower of life, or the Metatron's cube at the bottom of the portal in the cathedral, that has a snake on top guarding that portal. Maybe I'll go over that again sometime soon, but this conversation is going to a level where only those that have been following along, that have the concepts and the language to understand what I'm talking about when I talk about the sun tunnel and the portal in the cathedral. I don't want to have to go back over that. I want to take this conversation to places it's never been with people who know what I'm talking about, and I can incorporate all these things into a concept that I deliver in a sentence. and not have to go back and show people what I'm talking about when I talk about the portal in the cathedral. Relate that to how snake-like the architecture is that Mr. Rimmer volunteered. And he talked about the abuse of government, dangling carrots of freedom carrots in front of you. Sounds like a truther to me, but is clearly part of something besides just an individual with a YouTube account. It's clearly part of something besides that. Let us not judge it as evil or bad or out to get us because we don't understand it, and we'll be able to get a lot further. But again, I'm the guy that brought back the catfish head from Missouri, telling you it was a dragon skull, and legs, 2 leg bones, along with the skull. Sent video to the Life Sciences Biological Science Division at Brigham Young University and received a response. And the guy said, that's a catfish skull. We've got one on display in the museum if you'd like to come see it. Whether or not that's a catfish skull, the understandings I received during that time about dragons is true. To that extent, I'm going to include 2 links in the description called something to the effect of how our Loch Ness Mother has been demonized and turned into the Loch Ness Monster, showing you how when I went to Salt Lake and filmed the Salt Lake County Courthouse, there's dragons hanging over the side off the front of every archway entryway. Like a business has a sign over the front door that shows you who runs the place and what we do here. That county courthouse is showing you who's law, who's the sheriff around here. With those dragons hanging off the side. This isn't a cathedral. This is a Salt Lake County courthouse. And while I'm showing you in the front, as I work my way around the 3 sides of the building, by the time I get to the back, up shows Grimm Ghost Tours out of nowhere. And she's telling, and I've been filming these dragons and telling you, look at this, look at this. I even stopped some of these weirdos from Comic-Con, Utah's version of it. They had just got out of this live action role-playing Comic-Con fan type thing, and they were all dressed up with their crossbows and looking like, you know, like they were ready to hunt some dragons or something. And I pointed out, I'm like, hey dude, see the dragons over there hanging off the side of the building? He's like, Didn't have any more interest in than that. Wanted to continue playing in his fantasy rather than recognizing the reality that's in front of you that is crazier than any fiction you've ever read or tried to live action roleplay. So by the time I get back around to the 3rd side of the building, after I've already shown you the Freemason sign on the corner of the building and everything, again, fear that has been associated with that. You need to lose that shit. Up shows Grimm Ghost Tours. And they get out their EMF detectors and stuff. But she points out a very small image, maybe that big, chiseled into the side and says, anyone know what that is? And I just pop up immediately, a dragon. And I'm not even part of their ghost tour. Who's this guy over there from the corner talking about dragon? A dragon, huh? She says, okay, yeah, it looks like a dragon. Anyone else have any ideas? And maybe someone said griffin or something. She said that's Utah's lake monster. She said, not all lake monsters look like Loch Ness. No. When they came and said, this is the place and settled this valley, there were many reports of sightings of this lake monster in Salt Lake. And then she talks about how the ancient lake, ride the snake to the ancient lake. Ancient Lake Bonneville has these underground tunnels that go to these other lakes like Bear Lake and these other lakes in the